Upaya Savaloki Chatarini, Savaloga Namarataya, Dhanvantari Vandem Harim. Respected President, sir, my fellow friends, and other prominent persons on the dais. Now I am intending to talk a thousand of Vedic medicines. Two things I want to mention here. First, I am not a Ayurvedic physician. Secondly, I got knowledge of Ayurvedic medicine to secondary works of prominent persons like R.C. Majumdar, Bhagwan Jaha, and Bhagwan Saja, and Kutumbiya, Dr. Venkata Subbareddy, and Lochana, Sanjay Lochana, and other prominent persons, especially as one important person, that is P. Kani, and other prominent scholars. Now, I want to make a private of medicines. Well, what is the reason for coming here to the lectures here? I am now 77, running. One important thing is, it was a father, late G. Srinivasa Kodancha, a little Ayurvedic medical practitioner, roused my interest. Towards the end of his life, he told me to conduct a research work on history of Indian medicines, Ayurvedic medicines, and especially regarding who are the prominent persons, what are the works, what are the diseases, and actually he laid the foundation for my work. And his inspiring lectures, there was motive force for me to come here. I pay great homage to him. And secondly, his grandson, Natesh Kodancha in the USA, he gave me all kind of financial assistance to visit some of the prominent places like London, that is Wellcome Trust Library, Los Angeles Library, and other prominent libraries. Now, I want to make following point. Now, I am giving brief outline of my speech, because detailed paper will be here. Now, European scholars, of course, showed interest. What was the reason for the interest? This was due to two important factors. One is curiosity and out of necessity. Now, curiosity they gave from the time of Alexander the Great. That's not the Great, Alexander. Because they tell Alexander the Great just to emphasize there are so many Alexander. But it was the 16th century onwards, their interest in a new turn. Now, they face the same problems, tropical diseases. These are tropical diseases that made them acquainted with the study of Hindu medicines. And second important point was curiosity. Now, in the first decade of this period, some of them took interest in study of tropical medicines and how to cure it. And they made a lot of study on this work. Now, second important curiosity, it was in the first British to active interest, but they emphasized only Hindu medicines. What is the reason for it? Just to say clear difference between Hindus and Muslims. They completely ignored the Muslim medicines. They emphasized the Hindu medicines. Now this event took place till 1830. And in Lord Macaulay, so-called prominent persons and great lawgiver, he completely lay aside the Hindu medicines and calling it is unscientific, unreasonable, ridiculous, and should not be practiced. And a great blow to the Hindu medicines, especially indigenous medicines. Now even Hindus simply followed it. Without knowing, he had no knowledge of the Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language is very zero. Himself admitted it. And another important point was, and with the Bengali scholars, and especially Hindus, they overcome by it, and they completely cling to his ideas. And they emphasize this that for Hindu medicine, he was stopped. But in England, it took a new turn. And Raleigh, 1837, made a powerful speech in the King's College, London. His speech was so much inspiring that he had a great way of interest took place in Hindu medicine, especially European countries, especially France and Germany and Russia. But it to an extent in England, but not in India. This high speech never reached India till 1950 onwards. and T-Wise. Hindu medicines, and it was also in 1850. It was another important factor. Now then follow so many scholars who studied Hindu medicines, especially Vedic medicines. And here two important factors now that British emphasized only Hindu medicines, while the French took interest in the study of the Vedic medicines, and it took place in 1850 onwards. Now, the French, there are two important aspects you must note. The French took interest with the study of Hindu medicines from the Greek point of view. They want to compare Hindu medicines with the Greek medicines. And Germans studied philological aspect and textuals. So it was in this context, they studied Hindu medicines and made a few observations. And Dyenberg and Littard and some prominent person, Frizzot and Muller, these are the scholars, they studied the Hindu medicine. In Germany, some of the prominent persons studied was the German scholars also study interest. There are Gorham, Jolly, Muller, and lastly Swiss-born scholars, the Siegrist. So they study Hindu medicines. Now, these are the important points. Now, next what is Hindu medicine there? Vedic medicines. Now, Vedic medicines, and note that gleaned from the Vedas, the earliest source of inspiration, the cosmic forces of Indians, origin of life, birth, death, sickness, pain, happiness, and the salvation were revealed in the Vedas. The study of the Vedas literature, all the four Vedas, in different disclose logical speculation of the origin of the disease, use of healing drugs, and beneficial treatment and surgery. This last point you must know that. The Vedic text also reveal of the emergence of cosmic conception of the healing art in the midst of the power of magic and superstition, new idea gained by experience and experiment. The social value of the health was recognized by the Vedas, and the health care was very much stressed. Healing art was not only recognized, but it was also considered very sacred, and the priest, sorcerers, and sources, they were physicians for excellence. It seemed that these physicians studied carefully human body is a construction, and in working with the working and needs of the method of keeping in quite fit. They seem to have possessed sound knowledge of connection between the mind and body. This is a very important point you must note. They also devised the method of improving all of them together. Therefore, the physicians were considered divine beings. Vedic guardians knew the nature and causes of the disease. And what are the causes of the disease? They clearly mention the violation of cosmic laws. And Vedic prepared for cosmic intestines and also emphasized about the rational medicine also emphasized. This was crystallized towards the end of the Vedic period. The disease mentioned in the Vedas are yakshama, that is tuberculosis, prameda, and the angabeda, and also astri, and fever, various kinds of fever are mentioned. The Vedic guardians believed that diseases were caused by violation of the cosmic law. According to the latter, human body is made of 5 basic elements. If the disorder took place, the disease would occur. So these are the important points. And another important point that the Vedic guardians knew the conception regarding the causes of the disease, and they also made an important contribution with the role of water they are emphasized. Fire, wind in cosmic law. These are important for human positions. And Vedic guardians associated God with the nature of disease. This is not found in any other medical work, and especially in the Aryans. This very much emphasized, and Aryans associated God with the, for instance, Rudra and Agni, and this was the and also Ashwini. Sanitation, hygienic were not only known but also trusted in daily life. Sunlight was very emphasized, milk and water products, the honey are recommended for the position of the Vedas for the therapeutic and nutritive values. One important point, Vedic guardians knew very important point was not only cure of disease but preservation of life, healthy life and sound body. And healthy life and sound body, we can get only through yoga. And this was a rare feature, you must note, in the ancient Indian medical history. This was stressed by Segrist, prominent Swiss-born medical practitioner in his book History of Medicine, 2nd volume. And this is an important point. The surgical treatment was known to them. This is a very important point. Ashwini, famous prominent physicians, they advocate physicians, and he replaced the leg with iron rod and cured the eye disease and also performed so many operations. And this Vedic guardians viewed the medicine as healing art in integral life. The opinion both mind and body could be polished by the constant observation of plants, herbs, and animals and birds. Another significant point is the Vedic guardians knew the very important point. They regard the knowledge of the human body was acquired either by direct observations as at the later Vedic celebration. The guardians recognized Vedic, not only recognized, and especially they recognized the diagnosis they recognized, and this was not found in any other medicines, especially in India. On the other hand, it exhibits strong emphasis on direct observation. It hailed as a unique technique of the Vedic medicine stated by Chattopadhyaya. And another striking feature of Vedic medicine is of the recognition of the auspicious time for the practice of medicine. In other words, knowledge of the auspicious time was an integral part of Vedic medicine. And another important psychological factor also taken into consideration. After observing psychology of the patient, the doctor introduced the medicine. And in my preparation of medicine, one important point was proper exact use of the drug elements. This is a very important point. And this should be given only after careful examination of the disease by the doctors. And it clearly stated that self-medical practice should be avoided, and it was dangerous. And next point they emphasized, another point was, the drugs should be given after examining it, and it should be proper body, age, and month. And the curious point you must know that once you give a drug, it should not be applied to next time also, because change of the body and the Rutucharya, Dinacharya, this is a very important point. These we cannot find any other medical features. And another important point was the end of the Vedic period, they made a remarkable progress, especially they widened the acquiring knowledge of the etiology, symptomatic and synergetic. The synergetic recognized the different effects of ducts were known. This knowledge of these Veda physicians had utilized during the treatment of the medicine. Drug effects, bad effects, this was known later to the end of the Vedic period. Now I come to the conclusions. Of course, Europeans made remarkable contributions. It was their selfless effort that the overemphasized effect, the Vedic medicine was known to the world. And in the course of the observations, they made some uncalled comments. Sometimes they made just water. And also comments. Comments is uncalled and unscientific. Now, I call one in Dyenberg, who was the first to test in the Vedic medicines. He made uncalled, unscientific and rough treatment, and while comparing it with the Hellenic and the Vedic medicines. It was really irrational because Vedic period was one time and so many periods Hellenic medicines came. compared one with another, comparing the past with the present. This was unscientific historical approach. And L.D. Barnett, of course, prominent historians, and he guided so many research students in India, including my professor, Dr. B.S. Saletore. And he may comment Hindus that they have no knowledge of the etiology and the anatomy, and the Vedicarians had a defective knowledge of these 2 points. Many of the European Vedic scholars overemphasized the role of the magic in the medical system, but they never knew they used the medical drugs used for the treatment of the various diseases, especially herbal medicines. Rig Veda and the various Vedas stress the importance of herbs. They use a very important source of the medicine, but at the same time, the doctor, physicians, they give medicine with a rational basis. They completely ignore it and overemphasize it. That is magic, and also a very important point. It was magic spell, and only concern with that, it was the irrational, they called it. Now, we notice, for example, uncalled statement. Uncalled statement was, the Vedic Karyan mentioned so many anatomy, not for study of body, but only for sacrifices. But this was also wrong. In the course of the history, we come across so many anatomy features and noticed for curing various diseases also. And next, one more point. Next important point I tell you, throughout the Vedic period we don't find the word Ayurveda. In the place we find a Bisajas, that is healing substance, and include surgery also. Last important point I tell you, thus medical science in the Vedic period, though appears to be a primitive outlook, was marching towards the empirico-rational and scientific directions. It is a dynamic to the sound foundation for the Indian medicine. Thank you, my friends.